ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृतं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ श्रीपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशितारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 27, Attack by Chandavega on the city of Puranjan. So we are at text 25. So thank you for the prayers. Text 25. द्वाविभावनुशोचन्ति बालात् असतग्रौ यश यल्लोकशास्त्रोपपनं नरातिं न तदिच्छति. Translation.
One who does not give charity according to the customs or injunctions of the scriptures, and one who does not accept charity in that way are considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Such persons follow the path of the foolish. Surely they must lament at the end. Purport. It is herein stated that one should strictly follow the scriptures if one actually wants an auspicious life. The same is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 16.23. यह शास्त्र विद्धिम उत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिम अवाप्नोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. One who does not strictly follow the terms of the Vedic injunctions never attains success in life or happiness. And what to speak of going home back to Godhead? One Shastric injunction holds that a householder, a kshatriya, or an administrative head should not refuse to accept a woman if she voluntarily requests to become a wife. Since Kalakanya, the daughter of time, was deputed by Narada Muni to offer herself to Yavana Raja, the king of the Yavanas could not refuse her. All transactions must be performed in light of the Shastric injunctions. The Shastric injunctions are confirmed by great sages like Narada Muni. As stated by Narottamadas Thakur, Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Chitte Te Kariya Aikya. One should follow the principles of saintly persons, scriptures, and spiritual master. In this way, one is sure to attain success in life. Kalakanya, the daughter of time, presented herself before the king of the Yavanas precisely in terms of Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Thus, there was no reason for not accepting her. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So we have seen here Kalakanya is addressing Yavaneshwara that please accept me, and Yavaneshwara is accepting Kalakanya. And in the now this translation says, one who does not give charity or accept charity according to the scriptural injunctions is considered to be in the mode of ignorance, and he must lament at the end. Right. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that our activities have to be must in sync with the Shastra. यह शास्त्र विधि मुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिम अवाप्नोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. Neither he will get siddhi, na siddhim avapnoti, na sukham, neither happiness, na param gatim, neither higher destination. And therefore, Shastra Vidhi is very, very important. So the Shastra Vidhi in this age, simplified, in the most simplest form of the Shastra Vidhi is, following four regulative principles, and the Vidhi and Nishedh is chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or as many we are chanting and slowly progressing on that path. And therefore, it is very important to strictly follow the Shastric injunction. Of course, the one injunction of the Shastra, especially for the Grihastha or especially for the Kshatriya, is that one cannot refuse in this case, right? But here, and therefore Prabhupada writes that one has to follow Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Chittete Koriya Aikya. And then one will be very surely attain success in the life. Srila Prabhupada said, just follow the four regulative principles and chant 16 rounds, and I will personally take you back home, back to Godhead. Right. So the vidhi that is being given to us is sure enough to give us the higher destination, Param Gatim. Now, certain times there are such injunctions that one cannot refuse a gambling, one cannot, if a Kshatriya, one cannot refuse some woman offering, one cannot refuse. So, and how that to be reconciled? Because in Kali Yuga, hardly anybody is a Kshatriya. Kali Yuga, Kalau, Shudra Sambhava. Kali Yuga, literally, Prayah, everybody is Shudra. That is one. Second thing is, in the vow to the spiritual master is above, the lower Shastra, lower Upadharmas. So when takes the vow, I'm chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and following these four regulative principles. So automatically, all other lower dharmas or all other lower injunctions are nullified to support this higher injunction of following the Shastra. So that one has to be very careful. Because the mind can trick anybody, anyway. So one has to be very careful. And another good thing is, when in doubt, always ask. Right? We should always consult. We should have some good devotee in touch with, and we should always ask. I have many good friends, devotee friends, like His Grace Krishna Kishore Prabhu, Tulasi Prabhu, Brajanand Prabhu, Shankar Pandit Prabhu, Sarvatma Prabhu. These are like very close friend of mine. And the closest friend of you is your husband or wife. Okay. So when in doubt, we should always consult, and there should not be any hurry to take a decision. Text 26. Atho bhajasva mam bhatra bhajanti me dayam kuru etavam paurushe dharmo yadarthan anukampate. Translation.
Translation. Kalakanya continued, O gentle one, I am now present before you to serve you. Please accept me and thus show me mercy. It is a gentleman's greatest duty to be compassionate upon a person who is distressed. Purport. Yavana Raja, the king of Yavanas, could also refuse to accept Kalakanya, daughter of time, but he considered the request due to the order of Narada Muni. Thus he accepted Kalakanya in a different way. In other words, the injunctions of Narada Muni or the path of devotional service can be accepted by anyone within the three worlds and certainly by the king of the Yavanas. Lord Chaitanya himself requested everyone to preach the cult of Bhakti Yoga all over the world in every village and town. Preachers in the Krishna consciousness movement have actually experienced that even the Yavanas and Malichas have taken to spiritual life on the strength of Narada Muni's Pancharatrika Vidhi. When mankind follows the disciplic succession as recommended by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone throughout the world will benefit. Hare Krishna.
So now here the Kalakanya continued, O gentle one, I am now present before you to serve you. Please accept me and show your mercy. Aho bhajasva mam bhadra bhajanti me dayam kuru. And she says that please, a gentleman's greatest duty is to be compassionate upon a person who is distressed. Right. And now in the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes that the Yavana king also could have rejected the order, but he accepted the order of Narada Muni and he became compassionate. And Prabhupada focuses on this Dayam Kurum, that upon the instruction of the Supreme Lord, one should become compassionate. And Prabhupada writes here that many people have taken this instruction of the Narada Muni very seriously, and Lord Chaitanya has requested everyone, Prithvi Tyachaya Nagaradigram, Sarvatra Prachar, Hoibi Morana. Bharat Bhumite, Manushya Janma Chaile Yar, Janma Sarthak Kari, Kara Paropakar. That we have received this birth in the Bharat Bhumi and we have to do our Janma Sarthaka Kari, Kara Paropakar. And we don't have personally any strength, but on the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, on the instruction of Narada Muni, on the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, we should try whatever we can preach. Right? We don't have to become perfect to start our preaching activity. This is very important thing. See, what is preaching means? It is literally like, we have to become agents of the Supreme Lord and canvas for devotional service. Yatha Shakti, Yathamati. Introducing a friend to Krishna, inviting somebody to Janmashtami, attending, arranging some program once a while, according to our Shakti, according to our Mati. But one should have this missionary zeal. Like, I was just recently visiting a family and they were saying that, somebody in the family was sick and another kind of a Christian lady came and she said that, oh, why don't you take, your buddy to the pastor? He will just put the hand and, and he will be all right. And, but this Prabhuji very strongly refuted. He said, no, this is how they begin. But keeping the things aside, look at the missionary spirit, right? Hook or crook, people want to. So similarly, and what to speak of when we have such a genuine path as Krishna consciousness. Of course, we don't want to do hook or crook, but the point is, to be compassionate is a duty of a gentleman and gentle lady. And Narada Muni has given this instruction. So one should have more faith in the instructions of the Lord than faith in one's imperfections. Of course, we are imperfect in so many different ways, right? But one should have faith in the Acharya. And it may be a child who is repeating E is equal to MC square. But when the child is perfectly repeating what he has heard, right, he is giving the perfect knowledge. Although he may have very less realization of what that knowledge is speaking. And therefore, it is very important to be compassionate and try to become agent of the Supreme Lord and canvas, right, in a pleasing way. Whenever we are gifting, gift Krishna consciousness in some way, giving a nice frame, nice book, japamala, whatever, in a very pleasing way, without irritating people. One should always try to give a small push to people so that they come towards Krishna. If we won't, then who will? That is the question. Text 27. Kalyakanyodito vacho nishamya yavaneshwarah chikirshurdeva guhyam sasmitam tamabhavashata. Translation.
After hearing the statement of Kalakanya, daughter of time, the king of the Yavanas began to smile and devise a means for executing his confidential duty on behalf of Providence. He then addressed Kalakanya as follows. Purport. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 5.142, it is said, Ekale Ishwara Krishna Arasabhavritya Yare Yaichinachaya Se Taiche Kare Nritya. Actually, the Supreme Controller is the personality of Godhead Krishna and everyone is his servant. Yavanaraj, the king of the Yavanas, was also a servant of Krishna. Consequently, he wanted to execute the purpose of Krishna through the agency of Kalakanya. Although Kalakanya means invalidity or old age, Yavanaraj wanted to serve Krishna by introducing Kalakanya everywhere. Thus, a sane person, by attaining old age, will become fearful of death. Foolish people engage in material activities as if they will live forever and enjoy material advancement. But actually, there is no material advancement. Under illusion, people think that material opulence will save them. But although there has been much advancement in material science, the problems of human society, birth, death, old age, and disease, are still unsolved. Nonetheless, foolish scientists are thinking that they have advanced materially. When Kalakanya, the invalidity of old age, attacks them, they become fearful of death if they are sane. Those who are insane simply do not care for death, nor do they know what is going to happen after death. They are under the wrong impression that after death there is no life, and consequently, they act very irresponsibly in this life and enjoy unrestricted sense gratification. For an intelligent person, the appearance of old age is an impetus to spiritual life. People naturally fear impending death. The king of the Yavanas tried to utilize Kalakanya for this purpose.
Yeah. So after hearing the statements of Kalakanya, the daughter of time, the king of the Yavanas, he smiled and he was introducing Kalakanya everywhere. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Ekale Ishwara Krishna Ara Sabhapritya. Everybody is servant of the Supreme Lord, including Kalakanya and Yavaneshwara. And even the Jara is also servant because Yavaneshwara wanted to, Yavanraj, who is Yavanraj? Bhaya. He wanted to introduce Kalakanya everywhere. So one devotee was explaining what is body. People are very fond of body, but body literally means birth, old age, disease, and Yamaraj. BODY. Body. So Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. So Jara is very perfectly seated in the body, and then finally there is a Mrityu. And why? Because they are the servant of the Supreme Lord. Under illusion, people think things will be permanent, things will just go on and continue like this. But there will be eventually Jara, Vardhakya, and then there will be eventually Mrityu. And Prabhupada says the sane man should be afraid of Jara. Right? Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur beautifully prays, he says, Vardhakya dekho na upaya vihin. Of course, he is a pure devotee. But he says that Vardhakya dekho na. So, Vardhakya is a really powerful time which should humble a sane personality. And therefore, as early as we can, jab jago tab sabera, whenever we have realized the importance of the human form of life, one should engage in the business of the human form of life. And the only business in the human form of life, again, one has to take it age appropriate, is self-realization. Right? So, one has to be engaged in the activities of Krishna consciousness. And therefore, this king of Yavanas, he was trying to utilize Kalakanya for this purpose. So, very powerful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Text 28. Maya nirupatastubhyam pariratma samadhina nabhinandanti lokoyam tvamabhadram asammatam. Translation.
The king of the Yavanas replied, After much consideration, I have arrived at a husband for you. Actually, as far as everyone is concerned, you are inauspicious and mischievous. Since no one likes you, how can anyone accept you as his wife? Purport. After much consideration, the king of the Yavanas decided to make the best use of a bad bargain. Kalakanya was a bad bargain, and no one liked her. But everything can be used for the service of the Lord. Thus, the king of the Yavanas tried to utilize her for some purpose. The purpose was already been explained, that is, Kalakanya as Jara. The invalidity of old age can be used to arouse a sense of fear in people so that they will prepare for the next life by engaging in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So the king of the Yavanaji replied, "After much consideration, I have arrived to this conclusion to accept you. Although you are very inauspicious and mischievous, and who can accept such a wife? Okay, or such a husband, whatever it is." In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, there was a much deliberation, and this Yavana, the king of the Yavana, he decided to make best use of bad bargain. Srila Prabhupada said, okay, we have received this body, but now let us make the best use of bad bargain. We are in the material world, but we have the human body, and that can be utilized in the service of the Supreme Lord. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Everything can be used in the service of the Lord, and thus Yavaneshwara, he decided to use Kalakanya in the service of the Lord by arousing a sense of urgency and fear, seeing their Vardhakya. Right. But nowadays, unfortunately, after this smartphone revolution, people have stopped even that also. Like one of my friend, he was discussing, he said that Prabhuji, before the smartphone, my father used to pick up Bhagavatam. He used to go, used to read through something, at least watch picture, at least read some translation, some purport, something like that. But since when the mobile phone has arrived in hands of people, hours and hours, and especially even old people also, that they will begin their day 5 o'clock in the morning, when everything is pitch dark, maybe other spouse is sleeping on the bed, and they will be just scrolling 5 to 7 o'clock, right? And then it has become a pandemic. So Vardhakya should intensify the sense of urgency in our Krishna consciousness. This is very important. Text 29. त्वमव्यक्तगतिर्भुङ्क्ष लोकं कर्म विनिर्मितं याहि मे पूतना युक्ता प्रजानाशं प्रणेष्यसि. Translation?
This world is a product of fruitive activities. Therefore, you may imperceptibly attack people in general. Helped by my soldiers, you can kill without opposition. Purport. The word karma vinirmitam means manufactured by fruitive activities. This entire material world, especially in these days, is the result of fruitive activities. Everyone is fully engaged in decorating the world with highways, motor cars, electricity, skyscrapers, industries, businesses, etc. All this appears very nice for those who are simply engaged in sense gratification and who are ignorant of spiritual identity. As described in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yat indriya प्रीतया आपृणोति न साधु मन्ये यतात्मनोयम् असन्न अपि क्लेशदा आशदेहा. Those without knowledge of the spirit soul are mad after materialistic activities, and they perform all kinds of sinful activities simply for sense gratification. According to Rishabhadeva, such activities are inauspicious because they force one to accept an abominable body in the next life. Everyone can experience that although we try to keep the body in a comfortable position, it is always giving pain and is subjected to the threefold miseries. Otherwise, why there are so many hospitals, welfare boards, and insurance establishments? Actually, in this world, there is no happiness. People are simply engaged in trying to counteract unhappiness. Foolish people accept unhappiness as a happiness. Therefore, the king of Yavanas decided to attack such foolish people imperceptibly by old age, disease, and ultimately death. Of course, after death, there must be birth. Therefore, Yavanaraja thought it wise to kill all the karmis through the agents of Kalakanya and thus try to make them aware that materialistic advancement is not actually advancement. Every living entity is a spiritual being. And consequently, without spiritual advancement, the human form of life is ruined. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So this world is a product of fruitive activities. and you may imperceptibly attack the people in general, and helped by my soldiers, you can kill them without any opposition. This is the mandate to Kalakanya by Yavaneshwara. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains karma vinirmitam, that is manufactured by the fruitive activities, and especially currently, the entire world is revolving around the fruitive activities. People wants to see immediate fruits, and the fruits in terms of material happiness and material prosperity. And thus people are ready to do anything. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. Yad indriya pritiya pranoti na sadhu manye. Yad atmanoyam. That without the knowledge of the spirit soul, people are maddened by the materialistic activity, and all such sinful activities are being performed for sense gratification. And especially, the sinful activities represented in those 4 activities of meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit affairs. So, and King Rishabdev. Oh, who is King Rishabdev? We are very soon going to meet King Rishabdev. He is going to come in the 5th canto. Right. King Rishabdev, he says that everyone can experience this, that when one goes to the old age, then one experiences pain and subjected to 3-fold miseries. And then that time, it is not that our health insurance is going to save us. Right. Health insurance doesn't mean that we always remain healthy. It just covers the expense. Life insurance doesn't mean that there will be no death. It just financially covers the life, right? But people are simply engaged in counteracting unhappiness, and counteracting unhappiness is taken as the sign of happiness. And this is how Prabhupada says that people are, this is how people are being misled. And therefore, through agency of Kalakanya, Yavaneshwara wanted to make this, that realize this and realize you are a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and there is spiritual aspect of one's life. Text 13. Prajvaro yam mama bhrata tvam cha me bhagini bhava charamya abhyubham lokesmin avyakto bhima sainikah. Translation.
The king of the Yavanas continued, "Here is my brother Prajavar. I now accept you as my sister. I shall employ both of you as well as my dangerous soldiers to act imperceptibly within this world." Purport. Kalakanya was sent by Narada Muni to Yavanaraj so that she might become his wife, but instead of accepting her as his wife, Yavanaraj accepted her as his sister. Those who do not follow the Vedic principles are unrestricted as far as sensual life is concerned. Consequently, they sometimes do not hesitate to have sensual life with their sisters. In this age of Kali, there are many instances of such incests. Although Yavanaraj accepted the request of Narada Muni to show respect to him, he was nonetheless thinking of illicit sensual life. This was due to his being the king of Yavanas and the Mlecchas. The word Rajavaraha is very significant, for it means the fever sent by Lord Vishnu. Such a fever is always set at 107 degrees, the temperature at which the man dies. Thus, the king of the Mlecchas and Yavanas requested the daughter of time, Kalakanya, to become his sister. There was no need to ask her to become his wife, for the Yavanas and Mlecchas do not make distinctions as far as sensual life is concerned. Thus, one may outwardly be a sister, mother, or daughter and still have sense gratification. Yavanaraj's brother was Prajavara, and Kalakanya was invalidity itself. Combined and strengthened by the soldiers of Yavanaraj, namely non-hygienic conditions, illicit sensual life, and ultimately a high degree of temperature to bring on death, they would be able to smash the materialistic way of life. In this connection, it is significant that Narada was immune to the attack of Jara or invalidity. Similarly, Jara or the destructive force cannot attack any follower of Narad Muni or another pure Vaishnava. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 27th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Attack by Chandavega on the city of the king Puranjana, the character of Kalakanya.
Yeah. The king of Yavana said, I have another brother named Prajwar. Okay. And now I accept you as my sister, and I shall employ both of you, Jara and Prajwara, as my most dangerous, along with my dangerous soldiers, and you can create a havoc in everybody's life. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Kalakanya was sent by Narada Muni to become the wife, but here he accepted sister and was not having any hesitation, this Yavaneshwara, to have illicit affair with his sister. And therefore, those who have this kind of activities are called as Mlencha and Yavan. Right. So, in one of the discussion we have seen that, there is a particular sect where they do not just worry about anything. The real cousins are married, and and that has created such a pandemic, especially in Pakistan. A particular one generation, there is, people are, mentally retarded. The percentage of mentally retarded people in such marriages is very, very high. And therefore, one has to be following this injunction of not marrying the Sagotra Vivaha, right? And therefore, the Vedas, Shastra, whatever they describe, Tasma Shastra Pramanamte, whatever they describe, there is always a science. And we realize there is a science only when science tries to find out. But we should not wait for science to reach Veda's perfection. So this Sagotra Vivaha, and therefore you will have this Gotra matching and all these things, because it is dangerous. So Prajwara is very significant. It is set as 107. And this Prajwara, along with this Kalakanya and Bhaya personified, they are going to attack the city of Puranjan. So all these three of them, they can attack, right? Prabhupada writes, unhygienic condition, illicit affairs, and ultimately high degree of fever, that is Prajwara, will smash the materialistic way of life. But in this connection, it is very important. Narada Muni was immune to that attack. And similarly, Narada Muni and the followers of Narada Muni or a pure Vaishnava, they are also immune to the attack of Vardhakya. And this is how we conclude this chapter, attack by Chandavega on the city of Puranjan. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.